What if the price of freedom was living forever, trapped? Not in a dungeon, not in chains, but in something far more beautiful, far more haunting, and far more inescapable. Today we are going deep into one of the most chilling African folktales ever passed down through generations. A story so old, the elders refused to tell it after dark. A story about a woman who outsmarted a king, made a deal with spirits, and paid a price so heavy, even after centuries, she is still paying it. Stay with me, because this story, it does not end the way you think it does. A village tucked beside a wide, dark river somewhere in ancient Africa. No electricity, no clocks, just the sound of crickets at night, the smell of cooking fires in the evening, and the rhythm of a community that has lived the same way for hundreds of years. The people of this village know the rules of their world. You respect your elders, you honor your ancestors, you leave offerings at the shrine, and above everything else, you do not go near the river after the sun goes down. Because the river is not just water, the river is alive, and the things living inside it have been there since before anyone can remember. Now, every village has a leader, but this village had something worse, a king named Oba Kolujo. And this man was not a good king. He was the kind of ruler who looked at his people and saw resources instead of human beings. He taxed them until they had nothing left. He took land that did not belong to him. He collected cattle, gold, and power the way some people collect scars, constantly and without regret. But his worst quality? His greed did not stop at things. It extended to people. Specifically, to a young woman named Adunni. Adunni was not a princess. She was not from a wealthy family. Her father carved calabashes for a living. Those are the decorative gourds used for carrying water and storing grain. But Adunni had something that could not be bought, carved, or collected. She had a presence. The kind that made people stop talking when she walked into a space. The kind that made the river seem quieter when she came to fetch water in the mornings. She was already in love too, with a young man named Kolade, a simple, honest man who had spent 3 entire harvest seasons saving up just to be worthy of asking for her hand. A man who treated her family's home like it was sacred ground. They were going to build a life together. Until the king saw her. Oba Kolujo did not ask. Kings like him never asked. He sent his soldiers to her father's compound with a message that was not really a message. It was a command dressed in polite words. Adunni would marry the king. The wedding would happen at the next full moon. Her father could not say no, not to soldiers, not to a king. Kolade vanished into the bush before sunrise, because a man who loves a woman that a king has claimed is a man with a very short future. The wedding happened exactly as commanded. There were no joyful drums from her family, no women singing with pride, no celebration in the streets. Just a ceremony that looked like a marriage on the outside and felt like a funeral on the inside. Adunni stood through all of it, still, quiet, expressionless. But behind her eyes, something was burning. She was already planning her escape. That very night, while the palace slept, while the king's guards dozed at their posts, while the whole compound sank into the deep silence that comes after a long celebration, Adunni moved. Barefoot, silent, deliberate. She slipped through the back of the palace, past the sleeping dogs, past the village shrine where her ancestors watched from clay pots, and into the darkness beyond the compounds. She ran toward the river. Now, you have to understand what that meant. This was not a river people approached casually at night. This was the river the diviners consulted before making big decisions. The river where offerings were placed at the new moon. The river whose depth had never been successfully measured, because every man who had tried came back to the surface with an expression on his face that he spent the rest of his life trying to describe. The water spirits lived in this river, and Adunni, desperate, courageous, with nothing left to lose, went to them. She fell to her knees at the bank. The night insects went silent all at once. The trees bent over the water like they were listening. The surface of the river began to move, not from wind, not from current, but from something underneath, something deep, something ancient, something that had just decided to pay attention. Adunni spoke words that no griot has ever been able to fully repeat, words in a language older than the village itself, and the spirits answered. They gave her exactly what she asked for: freedom from the king. His soldiers arrived at the riverbank moments later and found nothing. No Adunni, no footprints leading back, just still water and moonlight, and that unsettling feeling that something massive had just moved through the invisible world around them. Obakolujo was furious. He sent divers. He sent diviners. He stood at the bank shouting into the water until his voice cracked. The river did not respond. But here is where the story shifts. Because the spirits gave Adunni her freedom. But freedom always has fine print. She would never grow old. She would be untouchable. She would be free from every king, every soldier, every chain that the living world could place on her. But she could never fully leave the river. It was her sanctuary, her salvation, and her prison all at once. That was hundreds of years ago. But the village is still there, and the river is still there. And some mornings, when the mist hangs low and the world is caught in that strange space between night and day, the fishermen see her, walking the bank, young, unchanged, radiantly, impossibly beautiful, exactly as she looked the night she ran. They call her the river bride who never grew old. And they know the rule. You do not call out to her. You do not wave. You do not let your curiosity pull you toward the water's edge. Because everyone who has tried to follow her in, every young man who thought he was brave enough, every wanderer who thought the story was exaggerated, has never come back. Not their body, not their voice, not a single trace, just the river, moving forward, steady and silent, keeping every secret it has ever been trusted with. So the next time someone tells you that freedom is always a good thing, remember Adunni. Remember that she got exactly what she asked for. And remember that she is still there, right now, walking that bank, young, beautiful, and completely, permanently, tragically alone. If this story gave you chills, you are not alone. Drop a comment below telling me what you think the spirits really wanted when they made that deal. And if you want more ancient African folk tales that will make you think twice before sleeping, subscribe, because we are just getting started.